The world tells the story of heroes, of kings, generals, and warriors, with bronze shields polished like mirrors. But history does not remember me. I had no title, no armor passed down through family, no legend. I was simply a soldier, a footman, one of the lowest among thousands. And yet, I stood at Thermopylae. I watched the sun rise on the final morning. I felt the ground shake beneath the feet of an empire so large it swallowed horizons. If my story is forgotten, let it be remembered now not as glory, but as truth. Before the battle, the road to Thermopylae was long, dusty, and suffocating. My feet bled inside broken sandals. My spear was cracked near the base. My shield, heavier than any burden I had ever carried, was borrowed from a dead man after a previous skirmish. The Spartans marched ahead of us, disciplined, silent, perfect. I marched behind with other common soldiers, men like me, with families waiting at home, with debts, with fear gripping the heart like a fist. We had heard rumors of the Persian numbers, hundreds of thousands, maybe more, enough to trample the world flat. Men whispered at night, "Why are we here? Why do we fight a battle already lost?" No one said it loudly, but the fear lived in every breath we exhaled. When we reached the narrow pass, the hot gates, the air itself felt trapped. Mountains rose on one side. A boiling sea roared on the other. The land squeezed into a single thin throat of earth. If death had a doorway, this was it. At dawn, the horizon darkened. Not with clouds, but with men. Rows and rows, columns upon columns, shields glittering like a river of obsidian. The Persian immortals. Their silence was worse than any war cry. They marched as if the world belonged to them, and we were merely an inconvenience. Leonidas walked past us, not looking at heroes, but at all of us, even the lowest. His voice carried the weight of cold iron. Hold the pass. No one enters Greece. We lowered shields, gripped spears. My hands trembled so badly, the spear rattled. Then came the sound, the single greatest sound a soldier ever dreads, the blowing of 1,000 war horns. The battle began. They came like a tide. We struck like a wall. The Spartans formed the front, shields locked. We Athenians and smaller city allies pressed in behind, pushing with all our strength. My world shrank to a single point, the gap in front of my shield. A Persian face appeared, eyes wide, teeth clenched. I thrust my spear. He fell. Another replaced him. Another, and another. Time dissolved. The battle wasn't ours. It was a single endless moment of screaming, shoving, bleeding, choking dust and crushed bodies. The dead piled so high in the narrow pass that Persians climbed over their own fallen. Their arrows darkened the sky. Many found flesh. Some found my shield. One grazed my cheek, warm blood dripping down, mixing with sweat. And still we held. By the second day, the stench of blood filled the pass like fog. My legs shook with exhaustion. My arms were numb. Each breath tasted of iron and dust. The Persians tried again, wave after wave. We pushed them back. The Spartans' discipline held us together like mortar binding stones. But we were not Spartans. Some men faltered. Some cried out for home. Some broke before the shield wall did. I watched. A boy no older than 16 drop his spear when a Persian axe shattered his shield. He froze. In that heartbeat, I stepped forward, grabbing him, pulling him behind me. I don't know why. I was no hero. But something inside me said, no one dies alone here. I held the line. Not for glory, but because I had no choice. We slept in shifts. If sleep is the right word, the mountains glowed with fires of the Persian camps. Their numbers were endless, stars across the valley. The Spartans spoke softly, sharpening spears. I overheard whispers of betrayal, Someone had shown Xerxes a hidden path through the mountains. Leonidas knew. He didn't tell us directly, but the silence around him said enough that we were surrounded. Doomed. The men around me murmured prayers. Some cried quietly. Some wrote letters to families that would never be delivered. I held my spear and felt hollow. Like the battle had already claimed something inside my chest. Dawn arrived heavy and gray. Sea mist clung to the pass. The air felt colder than steel. Leonidas walked among the ranks, not as a king, but as a soldier beside soldiers. When his eyes met mine, he nodded. It felt like a blessing, even for a nobody like me. Then we saw them. Persians pouring down the mountain path. Another army pushing into the pass. We were trapped between two jaws of a crushing beast. The king raised his spear. His voice thundered, "Enjoy your breakfast, men. For tonight we dine in Hades." A strange calm settled. Fear became clarity. Death became certain, but so did purpose. We locked shields. A wall of men already half dead, but still unbroken. The battle smashed into us from both sides. Spears splintered. Shields shattered. Men screamed. Blood soaked the earth black. Leonidas fought like a storm given human shape. His Spartans followed, fearless. Their precision made death look like choreography. I fought beside the boy I had saved. We barely spoke, only breathed the same desperate breaths, sharing the same fate. I lost count of how many times I was knocked down, only to rise again. My arms felt carved from stone. My lungs burned. My vision blurred, but I held the line. Because if I fell, the boy fell. The men beside me fell. Greece fell. The final moment did not come like thunder. It came like a whisper. A spear struck Leonidas. The king collapsed. A roar rose from every Spartan throat. Desperation turned into fury. They formed a circle around his body, refusing to let Persians touch their fallen king. The line broke. Men fell back. Some fled. Some fought to the last breath. The boy beside me shouted, his voice cracking, and charged forward. I followed. Not because I believed we could win, but because the alternative was to die running. I fought until my spear snapped, until my shield was torn from my arm, until all that remained were fists, knees, teeth, the raw instinct to survive even one more heartbeat. Arrows struck. Swords fell. Screams drowned in dust. The world shrank into darkness. When I woke, the battle was long over. Bodies lay silent. Some Persian soldiers walked past, ignoring the wounded. To them, I was not worth a kill. Not a threat. Not a hero. Just a survivor. I crawled from the field, every bone screaming. Every breath a reminder that I should not be alive. History remembers the 300, the kings, the champions, but it forgets the thousands of others, men like me, men who bled in the shadows of legends. I am the lowest soldier at Thermopylae, not born for glory, not raised for war, but I was there. I saw the courage of those greater than I will ever be. I lived so the story could live too, not as myth, but as truth.